out in the open. They stopped having them. They stopped letting them graze in a public park anymore. But in 1934, the sheepfold was turned into the restaurant Tavern on the Green, and for many years, all they served was white elephant, because the city is not good at running a restaurant, and it kept changing hands. A lot of people would try to make a go of it. They would be unsuccessful. Then in the 70s, it was bought by a guy named Warner Leroy, who turned Tavern on the Green into a smashing success. For a while, it was the highest grossing restaurant in the world. But his heirs, later in the 2000s, got into a fight with the restaurant union, and it ended up closing down. And in 2014, it reopened, and the new owners have been trying with mixed results to bring it back to its former glory. Central Park here is a lot more vibrant than you might think. There are hundreds of species of birds in the park. There are raccoons, and there are raccoons, and there are a coyote and a big box that said Acme on the side. It was dropping a rocket to his back. Okay, so all right, so that bell you hear, that's actually the Delacorte clock, which, if you look carefully, you might be able to see it in there. It's pretty hard with all the trees in full bloom though. Okay, look in front of us on your left here, you have the Temple Emmanuel. This is the largest Reformed synagogue in the world, one of the wealthiest synagogues in the world, and it's on the site where Lady Caroline Astor had her mansion. She was the grande dame of New York society, and she had a list of 400 families, and if you were not on that list, you were dead in New York society. And after she built her mansion here, I guarantee you nobody went to Temple Emmanuel was on that list. They were very waspy. Now, after Lady Caroline Astor built her mansion up here, then everyone in New York society had to have a mansion along Fifth Avenue. So one mansion, one more opulent than the next, were built up and down Fifth Avenue here. By the 1920s, though, they cost a fortune to upkeep, and the land was so valuable, you could get that you sell the mansion, you got a fortune for the land, so they almost all were torn down to build apartment buildings like these here. We're now on the Upper East Side, and unlike the Upper West Side, where the buildings have names like the Apthorpe and the Bell Nord and the Langham, San Remo, names like that, here on the Upper East Side, they just have the building number. That's how you know if you're in a good building or not. Oh my God, you're in 834. Oh my God, it's to die for. Oh my God, you live in 824, how can you stand it? Oh, God. Okay. Just slow down for a little while, Arliss, please. Thank you. On your left here is the Hotel Pierre, which for many years was owned by a French-Canadian company, but now is owned by the Taj Hotel chain of India. They used to put an Indian flag out. I don't know why they don't do it anymore. So coming up on your right now, you're going to see Grand Army Plaza North, and you'll see a gold statue of William Tecumseh Sherman, the man who burned Atlanta to the ground, being led into battle by the Greek goddess of victory, Nike, unlike the Greek goddess of defeat, Reebok. And behind the statue of the statues there in Grand Army Plaza, you'll find this big chateau-style building, Edwardian-style building here. That is another Henry Hardenberg building, the Plaza Hotel, one of the grandest hotels in New York. This is where, it's now mostly residential, but this is where the children's book Eloise was set, where Macaulay Culkin stayed in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, where the Beatles stayed when they came to New York. Now on your left here is the Sherry Netherlands Hotel, and on the south end of the Sherry Netherlands is where the Playboy Club of New York was once located, which is where Gloria Steinem worked undercover and wrote her seminal article, Confessions of a Playboy Bunny. Here on your right, take a look at that fountain there on your right. That is the Pulitzer Fountain. It was donated to New York City by Joseph Pulitzer, for whom the Pulitzer Prize is named. Now here on your right is Bergdorf Goodman, and that's on the site of where William K. Vanderbilt used to have his mansion. And Joseph Pulitzer didn't like William K. Vanderbilt. The rear end of the statue on top of that fountain is not covered. By not covering the rear end of that statue, that was his way of telling Vanderbilt what he thought of it. So here on your left, we have Tiffany and Company. No, they don't serve breakfast here. The famous jewelry store. And then on your left here, we have the Trump Tower. Yes, this is where Donald Trump lives, though he primarily lives in Mar-a-Lago these days. Yes, this is where Donald Trump, this is the headquarters of the Trump Organization. It is where Donald Trump announced his candidacy for president, and it is where The Apprentice was filmed. It's up here he fired Gary Busey and Gene Simmons and Meat Loaf and a bunch of other people. Fired Arliss. Arliss was fired by Donald Trump, right? I'm just playing with you, man. We're now entering one of the most expensive retail areas in the world. Many of these stores don't even make money. They cost, they literally pay thousands of dollars per square foot every month to rent a store. And in many cases, they just have the stores here for advertising. They're lost leaders. So 2 great luxury hotels here. On your right, we have the Peninsula Hotel, and around the corner on your left is the St. Regis Hotel. Now, the St. Regis is famous for the Old King Cole Bar. The Old King Cole Bar has it's a bar named after the nursery rhyme, Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, and he called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddle three. And there's a mural depicting the nursery rhyme, painted by Maxfield Parrish, who claimed that he could paint anything. So the guy who commissioned the mural challenged him and said, okay, paint flatulence. So if you look at the mural, Old King Cole is rising off his throne and he's smiling. Around the corner on your right is where you'll find the Museum of Modern Art. The Museum of Modern Art is one of the great art museums of New York. And they have many great masterpieces on display in there, including Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, The Scream by Edvard Munch, and Persistence of Time by Salvador Dali, among many, many, many others. Okay, in front of us on your left is the Palace des Quartiers. And this used to be a private home, believe it or not. Look at that. You can deal with a home like that, right?